This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, He will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will He also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of Him. He is in charge by my request, and He will hear and answer me, because He speaks for God my Father and His Holy Son and His Holy, Holy Son. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. This is my Son, and all I have is His. And these are God's words to us, to us. This is my Son, and all I have is His. This is my Son, and all I have is His. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Thank you so much for joining me today and studying A Course in Miracles. We're getting to the end of the year. Lesson 362 today, here on Friday, December the 27th of 2024. And we're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version this year, and we'll read from it again next year. Thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, or you've got any comments, or you want to add some stuff to what I'm saying, be sure to email me. This can be a two-way conversation here. I'll be glad to consider anything. Be sure to put in the subject line ACIM class, and I'll be sure to read it. That's about the only thing I read on my emails, and that's not exactly true, but I get a lot of stuff I don't read. And my email address is in the description below, along with Bill Letzon's story, which I yesterday, you'll have to go back to yesterday's to get the address and the link to it. But I told you about the near-death story of Bill Letzon, and then I forgot to give you the title. The title of it is Man Dies and Learns We Have It Completely Backwards. And it's a Shaman Oaks interview, 16 minutes and 55 seconds, and the link's in the description below. While we're at it, let me tell you about another near-death experience. Gary Wimmer, man dies, sees future, and says, "Don't freak out." He says there again, almost all of them I listen to say, it's just so overwhelmingly, we feel like we're home. We'd lost our way a while, and we don't want to go back once we get home. But he had work to do, and he's come back. Anyway, I'll put the link in today's video in the description below for his. His is 20 minutes. It's also a Shaman Oaks interview. So, okay, I just wanted to make sure we had that cleared up before we continue on. And we're going to, like I said, we'll start again on lesson 1 on January the 1st. So bring a friend and join me if you'd like. If you decide not to come along, and you've been through it for 1 year, well then, if somebody you think that would appreciate it, be sure to send them a link and buy them a book. If a person can't get a book, you can read it on acim.org. Thank you, acim.org, for that. That's Foundation for Inner Peace's website. Or you can get one from Miracle Distribution Center. Their links are all on acim.org, though. Okay, let's see. Let's go take a look now at our... we have one more reading to finish the workbook, but I want to save it till tomorrow, the epilogue. I want to read the final lessons introduction once again, just because there's so much there. We probably won't read it every day for the next few days, but I would like to read it once more today. So let's look at the introduction. Our final lessons will be left as free of words as possible. We use them but at the beginning of our practicing, and only to remind us that we seek to go beyond the words. Let us turn to Him who leads the way and makes our footsteps sure. To Him we leave these lessons, as to Him we give our lives henceforth. For we would not return again to the belief in sin that made the world seem ugly and unsafe, attacking and destroying, dangerous in all its ways, and treacherous beyond the hope of trust and the escape from pain. Paragraph 2. His is the only way to find the peace that God has given us. It is His way that everyone must travel in the end, ultimate reconciliation, because it is this ending God Himself appointed. Or maybe I should say ultimate awareness of your reconciliation, because it's just our belief that we're separate that causes us all the problems. In the dream of time, it seems to be far off. What is it? Let's read it again. His is the only way to find the peace that God has given us. It is His way that everyone must travel in the end, because it is this ending God Himself appointed. In the dream of time, it seems to be far off. Yet, in truth, it is already here, already serving us as gracious guidance in the way to go. Let us together follow in the way that truth points out to us, and let us be the leaders of our many brothers who are seeking for the way, but find it not. Oh, Tom Turkey Goblin. Paragraph 3. And to this purpose, let us dedicate. To what purpose? Let us together follow in the way that truth points out to us. And let us be the leaders of our many brothers who are seeking for the way, but find it not. So we're going to follow in the way that truth points out to us, and we're going to lead our brothers who are looking for happiness and salvation, for peace, for love, for clarity, for connection with God. We're going to help them and share them what truth has shown us. Paragraph 3. And to this purpose let us dedicate our minds, directing all our thoughts to serve the function of salvation. Unto us the aim is given to forgive the world. It is the goal that God has given us. It is His ending to the dream we seek and not our own. For all that we forgive, we will not fail to recognize as part of God Himself. That ought to motivate you to want to forgive everybody for everything all the time. Why? So that you can remember that everything's part of God. Everything has been given to you by God. He gave you everything in your creation as making you everything. Okay. For all that we forgive, we will not fail to recognize as part of God Himself, and thus His memory is given back completely and complete. 4. It is our function to remember Him on earth, as it is given us to be his own completion in reality. So let us not forget our goal is shared, for it is that remembrance which contains the memory of God and points the way to him and to the heaven of his peace. And shall we not forgive our brother who can offer this to us? He is the way, the truth, and life that shows the way to us. You know, Jesus said that same thing. And now he's telling us here that we can say it. And the reason we can say it is because if you let there be even one brother or sister that keeps you from loving them, then you have not found, you're lost. But if you'll love everyone, everyone is the way, the truth, and the life. Everyone is the way to God. Just like Jesus was the way to God to those he spoke of. He was the exemplifying what he's trying to get us to do. He is the way, the truth, and life that shows the way to us. In him resides salvation, offered us through our forgiveness given unto him. Paragraph 5. We will not end this year without the gift our Father promised to his Holy Son. We are forgiven now. And we are saved from all the wrath we thought belonged to God and found it was a dream. We are restored to sanity, in which we understand that anger is insane, attack is mad, and vengeance merely foolish fantasy. We have been saved from wrath because we learned we were mistaken. Nothing more than that. And is a father angry at his son because he failed to understand the truth? That foolish vengeance is but foolish fantasy. Reminds me when someone is killed, murdered by someone, they want to have justice done, as if it's going to change anything. It'd be much better to look at it the way that some Amish people did at one point, and I forget the story, but I mean it made big headlines. That they all, as a family, when someone had killed someone in their community, they all, instead of wanting vengeance, foolish fantasy, they wanted to practice forgiveness to the best they understood forgiveness. We come in, okay, so nothing more than that. And is a father angry at his son because he failed to understand the truth? We come in honesty to God and say we did not understand, and ask him to help us to learn his lessons through the voice of his own teacher. Would he hurt his son, or would he rush to answer him and say, "This is my son, and all I have is his"? And boy, we're the prodigal sons, and the Father has rushed to robe us with the new robe and put a ring on us and make a feast for us. This is my son, and all I have is his. Be certain he will answer thus, for these are his own words to you, and more than that can no one ever have, for in these words is all there is, and all that there will be throughout all time and in eternity. This is my son, and all I have, says God, is his. This is my son, and all I have is his. Okay, let's go take a look at our next section in Song of Prayer. We're in the last chapter, chapter 3, Healing, section 2, False versus True Healing. False healing merely makes a poor exchange of one illusion for a nicer one, a dream of sickness for a dream of health. This can occur at lower forms of prayer, combining with forgiveness kindly meant but not completely understood as yet. Only false healing can give way to fear, so sickness will be free to strike again. False healing can indeed remove a form of pain and sickness, but the cause remains and will not lack effects. The cause is still the wish to die and overcome the Christ. And with this wish is death a certainty, for prayer is answered. Wow, a wish is a prayer, and all wishes are answered. All prayers are answered. And yet there is a kind of seeming death that has a different source. It does not come because of hurtful thoughts and raging anger at the universe. It merely signifies the end has come for usefulness of body functioning, and so it is discarded as a choice, as one lays by a garment now outworn. That's the better way to look at death. That okay, I'm finished with this, all the learning and all the helping I can do in this with this body. I'm ready to set it aside and put on a better one, an immortal one. Go home. Okay, and he's going to really explain this idea really well in the paragraph 2. This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully. Can you imagine that? A quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. Wow, let's read that again. This is what death should be, a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us, but we are thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. Again on that sentence. But we are thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. All that'll be over when you lose the body, is what he's saying. Now we can behold him without blinders in the light that we have learned to look upon again. Wow, isn't that something? There's a nice way of looking at death, isn't it? We call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in forms that seem to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. If there has been true healing, this can be the form in which death comes when it is time to rest a while from labor gladly done and gladly ended. Now we go in peace to freer air and gentler climate, where it is not hard to see the gifts we gave were saved for us. For Christ is clearer now, his vision more sustained in us, his voice, the Word of God, more certainly our own. Paragraph 4. This gentle passage to a higher prayer, a kind forgiveness of the ways of earth, can only be received with thankfulness. Yet first true healing must have come to bless the mind with loving pardon for the sins it dreamed about and laid upon the world. Now are its dreams dispelled in quiet rest. Now its forgiveness comes to heal the world, and it is ready to depart in peace, the journey over and the lessons learned. 5. This is not death according to the world, for death is cruel in its frightened eyes and takes the form of punishment for sins. How could it be a blessing then? And how could it be welcome when it must be feared? What healing has occurred in such a view of what is merely opening the gate to higher prayer and kindly justice done? Again on that sentence. What healing has occurred in such a view of what is merely opening the gate to higher prayer and kindly justice done. Death is reward and not a punishment. That's why no one wants to come back when we're reading about all these near-death experiences or listening to their stories. Death is reward and not a punishment, but such a viewpoint must be fostered by the healing that the world cannot conceive. There is no partial healing. What but shifts illusions has done nothing. What is false cannot be partly true. If you are healed, your healing is complete. Forgiveness is the only gift you give and would receive. And the last paragraph, 6. False healing rests upon the body's cure, leaving the cause of illness still unchanged, ready to strike again until it brings a cruel death and seeming victory. It can be held at bay a little while, and there can be brief respite as it waits to take its vengeance on the Son of God. Yet it cannot be overcome until all faith in it has been laid by and placed upon God's substitute for evil dreams, a world in which there is no veil of sin to keep it dark and comfortless. At last the gate of heaven opens, and God's Son is free to enter in the home that stands ready to welcome him and was prepared before time was and still but waits for him. Wow. It still waits for him while he's been wandering in the world. Okay, let's see. What's going on around the world today? It's still Hanukkah. It's also Kwanzaa. Also, you know what? I found that some people, I think, celebrate Yule all the way from the solstice up until Christmas. And the reason I say that is because a couple websites talked about that this is Yule going on here on the 27th even. But what I would want to say, so maybe it's all the way up until the first year people celebrate. But here's what I wanted you to know. If you think about Jesus was dead for 3 days and then rose again, the sun is it dies, you might think of it. Its shortest day is on the 21st or the 22nd of December. But visually, you can't tell that it's coming back to life until 3 days later on the 25th. That's when you can actually, if you actually had a little marker like Stonehenge set up, you'd start seeing that the sun is, or you can actually tell that the days are getting a little longer now. You can't tell, is what I've heard, that you can actually visually tell about 3 days later, because it's going to be, it's kind of like a pendulum. It swings, and there's a moment where it's stopped, and then it swings back. Okay? So anyway, we're stopped at solstice, and it takes a little time before the energy gets going, and that's the raising of that's some people feel like that's the symbolic meaning of the resurrection, or of the Christ being born on the third day after the death. I thought that was kind of interesting concept. I heard about that first on the movie called Zeitgeist. Okay, it's also Free Balloon Day, Howdy Doody Day, and Howdy Doody. Thank you all for joining me here from my Ozark little place. I like to sit kind of out of the wind in my little bamboo patch in my yard. Howdy Doody Day. So Howdy Doody, thank you so much for joining me. Make cutout snowflakes day. Might be a fun thing to do with the kids, huh? Fruit cake day. Maybe make a fruit cake. Make it where it's good for you. But a heavy pound cake with a lot of dried fruits in it, and whole grains. Visit the zoo day. Might be a day to go visit the zoo. I've kind of got a zoo with all my birds and stuff in my front yard, and my horses, my dog and cat, and all that. Okay, and I've got another carrot I want to talk about. It's the dragon carrot out of Seed Savers Exchange, the Daucus carota. And it says of the Daucus carota dragon carrot, this carrot's beautiful red-purple exterior provides a striking contrast to its yellow-orange interior and light yellow core, a treat for the eyes when sliced. Dragon has a sweet, almost spicy flavor that makes it a gardener's favorite and a best seller at specialty and farmers markets. Considered the most refined purple carrot available, it was bred by Seed Savers Exchange member John Navazoe, and it's in 90 days, 24,500 seeds to the ounce. And then just a general information about carrots. I I thought would be worthwhile. Carrots, their tops and the seeds are all edible. They're a good source of vitamins, particularly C and A. Also high in fiber and minerals and antioxidants that may help. They remove free radicals from the body, which means they could contribute to elimination of cancer risk. They're good for vision. My mom used to say, "You ever seen a carrot or a rabbit wearing glasses?" They're good for carrots, and rabbits eat carrots. Okay. Immune system, they're good for digestion, blood pressure, weight loss. Okay, I thought that was some kind of good things. I thought, well, let's see if we can find some good stuff that carrots are good for since we're talking about them. Okay, well, let's close with our song. And remember to tell yourself this every hour of the day today. And ask for direction and guidance. Be sure to do a longer practice, morning and evening. And remember what God tells you. This is you telling God this song, but there's one place and he says, and these are God's words to you in our reading today, and it's this is my son, and all I have is his. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And if I need a word to help me, he will give it to me. If I need a thought, that will he also give. And if I need but stillness and a tranquil open mind, these are the gifts I will receive of him. He is in charge by my request, and he will hear and answer me, because he speaks for God my Father and his Holy Son and his Holy Son. And then God says, this is my son, and all I have is his. All I have is his. This is my son. This is my son, and all I have is his. This is my son, and all I have is his. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Let that be your prayer. Pray this holy instant would I give to you. Get a little tongue-tied. This holy instant would I give to you. Be you in charge, for I would follow you. Certain that your direction gives me peace. Certain that your direction gives me peace. And our word is from the Shawnee people of the Ohio River Valley. Ohio, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, that whole area was their original. They've got a place here close to me now, over near Seneca, Missouri. But their word for peace is, and I'll do the best I can, Howalakotewa. Howalakotewa. This holy instant would I give to you. Howalakotewa.